Welcome to another episode of Excuse the Beard. As you can see, the beard's been trimmed thanks to my handy beard trimmer. We can't still visit salons, they're still shut in Delhi, as are gyms and movie halls and almost everything else this week. But in today's episode, I'd like to discuss a couple of aviation related stories. Starting with the marriage that took place on board a SpiceJet aircraft that was flying loops around Madurai. An enterprising couple, or somebody in Madurai who knew the couple, found this great loophole that they could get 160 people on board an aircraft to attend a marriage rather than just the 120 limit that the city authorities had imposed in Madurai. So lo and behold, they chartered a SpiceJet aircraft which flew loops around the Meenakshi temple in Madurai, and our couple got married on board with all the guests attending. And they probably would have gotten away with this also had the Indian tendency to show off not popped up. Pictures flashed all over social media, and in these COVID times, of course, people got very irritated saying, how the hell was this allowed? Rightly so. The Director General of Civil Aviation in India stepped into the breach, and they said that the crew had been derostered for not following COVID protocols. And I felt this was a bit unfair on the crew because it's almost certain that the airline knew. Now, the airline came out with a public statement saying that we had warned the couple and their families that they couldn't do all of this on board, and this happened without our knowledge. That seems a bit unbelievable, but from a legal standpoint, maybe the airline had sent out a mail and saying, don't do this. This must have happened on a wink, wink, nudge, nudge basis, but of course, an airline might escape legal responsibilities over here. What will happen next, I don't know. Maybe there will be a show cause against the crew, and the crew will be asked, particularly the commander, why he didn't lock down the cabin and land the aircraft immediately when he found the marriage happening in the passenger cabin. As for the airline might get away with this completely illegally. In fact, there's some other news on the SpiceJet front. SpiceJet has actually won a summary judgment against one of its leasing companies that actually will help them going forward. The thing I'd like to discuss is what happened to Ryanair flight 4978. This was a flight between Athens, the Greek capital, and Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania. This aircraft, however, was forced to land in the Belarusian city of Minsk. It initially was that there was a bomb on board and the aircraft had to land, but that became a bit unbelievable because Vilnius sits on the border of Lithuania and Belarusia, and the two cities of Minsk and Vilnius are literally just about 120 miles away from each other. It emerged the flight had been forced to land in Belorussian because the authorities over there wanted to arrest a blogger who was on board the flight. The blogger, Roman Petrosevich, was publishing stories about Belarusian dissidents. Now, if you've been following the news, there's been a lot of civil strife in the country of Belarusia against the ruling president, Alexander Lukashenko. And this has been going on for many months. There was a near revolution in that country, and thanks to social media, there has been a lot of news being published. Now, of course, forcing an aircraft to land so that you can arrest a passenger on board does not seem possible, but Belarusia pulled it off. And one reason it managed to do that is because Belarusia is not a signatory to the International Air Services Transit. Now, the International Air Services Transit Agreement allows for quite a few freedoms, particularly the first two freedoms, that is giving the right of an airline of country A flying to country B to overfly country C. So a flight from Singapore to Dubai can overfly India. The second freedom gives airlines from a third country the right to land anywhere and service their airline. Say, for example, if you've taken the flight between Frankfurt and Pune when it was operating, it used to very often land in Budapest to be refueled. That is the first, these are the first and second freedoms of flying. While India is a signatory to this agreement, not every country in the world is. Notably, China, Russia, Brazil, and Canada. Now, when you're not a signatory to this agreement, it gives you much more right about who can overfly your territory. Interestingly, Belarus is also not a signatory to this agreement. As a result, this gives them much more right about the airlines that can overfly their territory. Unfortunately, the landing path to Vilnius is most efficient when you come over Belarusian territory. So airlines are now avoiding Belarusian territory because of this, and Belarus will probably lose a boatload of money in overflight rights. And the European Union is now acting against them for taking this action. But Belarus has been under sanctions for a long time, and such a message by forcing an aircraft to land is quite a strong message to send out to dissidents. Thank you for watching Excuse the Beard. Do like this video and subscribe for more on a whole variety of topics from aviation to automotive to history and a lot more with me, Kushan Mitra.